All right. Joining us on the line right now is a former two-time WWE World Tag Team Champion, a three-time IWGP World Tag Team Champion. You may know him as the Big LG. He is Doc Gallows. Doc, welcome to the two-man power trip of wrestling.
The two-man power trip. I've been reading about this thing for a minute. Now I am here, and we are getting going. It's good to be here. What's going on, good brother?
Hey, not to start off on a negative note, but remember years ago, and this is a credit to you. You remembered this. We were supposed to do an interview through WWE, and the crack PR team over there screwed it up, and it never happened. And you remembered it. So, I mean, that was awesome. I was like, wow, I can't believe he actually remembered that.
Well, I do remember it because I hate when stuff happens, and I don't think it should reflect on the talent as much as the people who are in charge of steering the talent where everything's supposed to be. So that's not to bury anybody. I'm just saying, if I tell you I'm going to do something, I generally like to do it. But we're here now, so let's get it rolling, brother.
Yeah, let's talk about something positive. Now, we were just talking last night a little bit with Rick, and we were talking about Talking Tough. Talking Tough, that's his podcast. Sorry, Talking Shop, and the big pay-per-view coming up. And after we were done, he's like, man, I think I'm going to fucking order this thing. I was like, me too. So, God, tell us a little bit about the Talking Shop, a Mania on FITE TV you got going on August 1st.
So FITE TV, 9 p.m. Eastern, August the 1st, Talkin' Shop, a Mania. We're really excited about it. FITE TV is not the only place where you can see that thing. We are available on American pay-per-view. We are available on Canadian pay-per-view, in demand, direct TV. I'm trying to find my little list here. I had it pulled up and it's no longer in front of me. Here we go. In demand, direct TV, Dish, Verizon, Uverse, and in Canada available on Shaw pay-per-view, Bell TV, and SaskTel. If none of that works for you, watch iPay-per-view. Do what I do. Watch the FITE app. FITE TV will be broadcasting this thing as well. This is not a serious wrestling pay-per-view. This is a serious parody with some of your favorite wrestling characters stepping out of what you would normally see them do on television or elsewhere. This is a wink to all of you serious fans who listen to things like this, who follow our podcast, Talkin' Shop. If you're not doing that, you need to rate, like, and subscribe. And have a good time with us, man. We are stepping out and we're trying to make people have a good time. We're trying to put a smile on your face. We're trying to make you laugh in a time when our world is in a very uncertain place with a lot of really serious stuff going on. So, we thought we did a cinematic match with The Undertaker and AJ Styles in a co-main event of WrestleMania. We were let go 12 days later. So who would we be as the comedians that we think that we are if we did not spoof that and make a parody surrounded by it? So you're not going to see a Boneyard match. What you will see is Sex Ferguson taking on his longtime partner, Chad Too Bad, in a Boner Yard match. You're going to see cameos from some of wrestling's greatest superstars, from the present and the past, from the Rock and Roll Express to Chavo Guerrero to D'Lo Brown to Enzo to Brian Myers to Mike Bennett, his wife Maria Kanellis to Heath. The list goes on and on. Independent talent mixed in there. All kinds of great surprises, cameo appearances. It's a 90 minutes of, I hope, what will be a very good time for all you guys. It's available for just $14.95. So even if you think it sucks, you can't be that mad at me because we've all wasted $15 before. So I hope that you will jump in, you will join in. I hope you will laugh along, and it'll put, like I said, at least a chuckle. We chuckled the whole time we were doing it. So please join along.
And you can't have high expectations if it's called the worst pay-per-view of all time, right?
No, it's going to be terrible, but hopefully terrible for the right reasons. You know what I'm saying? That's my hope anyway.
So bad it's good.
Absolutely.
I think the most intriguing thing, maybe Rory Fox or Lodi or Johnny Swinger or something. You know what I mean? Like these random cameos.
I mean, the Flock reunited on pay-per-view. Rory Fox coming, if you listen to the Talkin' Shop podcast, to avenge a wrong, an injustice he feels happened to his wrestling career over a decade ago when I was live in the building. It's
that was great. Yes,
I'm just laughing thinking about it. I can't wait to see it.
That's a great story. Him and obviously Zack Ryder is,
It sure
It's
is.
sworn enemy now forever because
His real life hatred for him is one of my favorite things still going in the business.
So this is just kind of like the brainchild of you guys, right? I mean, you guys really just kind of just thought it out and like, fuck it, let's just do a pay-per-view.
Yeah, fuck it. Why not? We have time to plan this thing. We had no idea how much work would have to go into it, but now it's done, and we we hope you guys will watch along with us. If you're in Georgia, I'm going to actually watch it live with a socially distanced audience at the Southern Brewing Company in Athens, Georgia. We're going to start that with a live Zoom meet and greet with Karl Anderson and Rocky Romero. It'll start at 8 p.m. The pay-per-view will come on at 9. I'll be hanging out, having beers with you guys and watching the pay-per-view, and then we'll hang out after too, I'm sure. So if you're in the area, come along with me. You can either laugh with me or laugh at me when it's finished, but you'll be laughing nonetheless, I feel.
You know what's great though, and you just think like, wow, like you're so creative. This is so funny. This is such a great idea, but WWE never lets you talk. So it's like, wow, where is this coming from? Like, what? This guy has personality. He can talk. He's charisma. Where did this come from?
They maybe they never let me talk because they figured I would never shut up, and that's kind of what's happening and you're seeing now. But yeah, no, it was we're a tag team, and as history has taught us about World Wrestling Entertainment, it's not necessarily high on the tag team division, even though they have some of the best tag teams in the entire world. But you can click over to Impact Wrestling. We got a hell of a strong tag division over there now with ourselves, the North. We got the returning Motor City Machine Guns, a lot of great up-and-coming young tag teams out there. So tag team wrestling's alive and well. AEW, our friends over there, they're kicking ass as well. So, I mean, I think that if you have a hunger for a good tag match, which I always do, you can find it. It's just on a different channel.
There's no doubt about that. And you talk about the debut and Impact. Did huge numbers socially for Impact. I'm sure the pay-per-view obviously did great because there were so many teases of the Good Brothers joining Impact. So what kind of made that decision easy for you, or like what made you kind of want to jump to Impact?
It was an easy decision. They had been courting us since September of 19 when we were looking to leave WWE. And AEW had put together a great offer for us as well. And obviously we made the wrong decision and stayed with WWE. But this go around, what made Impact so attractive was Scott D'Amore, Don Callis, Ed Nordum over there at Impact. They basically opened their arms to support all this other outside stuff that Karl and I want to do and are doing with, our podcast, the worst podcast ever, Talkin' Shop. Rate, like, and subscribe. The pay-per-view Talkin' Shop of Mania, that was a brainchild that came out of the podcast. Coming out with our own beer and all kinds of different products. So it was very gratifying when I watched back the television from Tuesday and saw the Talkin' Shop of Mania graphic. We were allowed to speak freely about it. We were allowed to speak in the ring without a script. All those things made us really know and solidify the fact that this was the right decision, and onward and upward. That brand had a great roster, and now I think it's got more eyes on it. And I think we had a lot to do with that. And I think some of the other talent coming in had a lot to do with that. And I think that it's going to be a hell of a wrestling show. I think it's going to be one that people are going to want to tune into and continue to tune into. And obviously that's our goal. And we want to wear the Impact hat, wave the Impact flag, and continue to grow both of our brands and grow them mutually. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up that we haven't even announced yet. And basically we're partnered up on everything. So it's very cool and it's very exciting. They put a carve out in for us to be able to return to New Japan when the world is open enough to do so, which was super important to us, and very understanding schedule wise with that. So it couldn't have felt any better, to be honest with you.
That is great. They kind of left you kind of, freely creatively, where they don't say you can't do this, can't do that. They're very open, and they almost want to help you guys, push your beer, push the number one podcast, not only in wrestling, but the number one podcast in the sports world as well.
Absolutely. And we appreciate all you guys who listen to wrestling podcasts, who listen to podcasts, and who click in and listen to us and all of our silly bullshit, because we sure do. As much as we like to joke and say we hate to do it, as soon as we put the headphones on, we're laughing the entire time. So, wrestling's supposed to be fun. Let's keep it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Now with Impact, and like really you made such an impact with the debut. Did you kind of expect that kind of going in, that it was going to be, all over the place and you guys were going to be trending and everything else? Did you expect that at all?
We expected a lot of buzz. I think they expected a lot of buzz as far as the Impact brand. I don't know that they knew it would be as much buzz as it got. I mean, the number one tweet in their history was our announcement. We were coming, and then trending worldwide, number one. Great. And kudos to everybody there, everybody already under the brand that worked so hard to get it where it is. We loved coming in and being a part of that. But I think that it was good strategy for once on our part. We put together our countdown to Fucktown, and we've been counting down and talking about it on social media. And we kind of had our rebirth party where we did our boozing with the boys that you can join in on Patreon. We do it twice a month. Patreon.com/Talkin Shop, where you can come in and drink with us, hang out, ask questions. We do all kinds of silly stuff. But we did a 2-hour lead in, and then right at midnight, you switch over to youtube.com/Talkin Shop podcast. And then that was our, for lack of a better term, like our pipe bomb podcast, where you've seen the headline. I've said what I said about Paul Heyman because it's true. No need to revisit all that. And then did basically a deep dive on what we have coming up and what's going on. I think that all that combined together with their promotion and the buzz that was already happening, it couldn't have helped more. And then, of course, all the great surprises from Eric Young to EC3 to Brian Myers to, like I said, the return in Motor City Machine Guns, Heath. Very cool stuff.
And it's interesting how you say you didn't really want to talk about the Heyman thing, but I just think it's so interesting what I read online. They're like, what? Paul Heyman? Like a lot of young hipster fans, maybe they're a little bit clueless or maybe they don't know wrestling. Like, Paul Heyman, he's not a liar. He blah, 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 this and that. And it's so funny. All the guys that I talk to, like Dutch Mantell and Shane Douglas and Justin Credible and all these guys that I'm friendly with, they're all like laughing. They're like, what? He's the biggest liar in the history of the business. Like, we've known that for years. How come these fans don't realize, like, man, like he's a snake?
That's something that I said that was a real conversation I had with Karl in a rental car outside of a gym one time before we jumped on a phone call with him where he was selling everything to us. I said, all these guys who came before us, who have always told stories publicly and told us privately, hey, this guy's a liar, you can't fucking trust him. I mean, why should we? What do we think? And I think we were hoping for the best. And, he proved the naysayers of the past to be correct. They weren't naysayers. They were just telling us the truth. And the same snake bit us that maybe bit them. So, hey, that's on us. And we're moving on. That's rearview mirror shit now.
Yep. I just thought it was funny that people were like, no way, he's not a liar. I was like, oh my
God. Would never do that to these guys.
It's like, man, like, no, he trust me, he would. They're like, no, he wouldn't. He's Brock Lesnar's manager. It's like, no, he's more than like, they don't really pay attention.
He's an on-air character. We'll leave it at that.
Yep. I just thought it was funny, like in that video, like another guy named Paul's a liar. It's just funny, like the way you guys converse with each other, but it's so smooth and it's so lighthearted, but also, it's shooting. So, I mean, it's you guys do have a lot of fun.
Yeah. And then that was the deal. We had to say it. We said it, and, it's out there now. It's not going away, and it was what it was. So I'm glad that we told the truth. That was a big thing that he was saying. If I ever lie to you, bury me, because I want the locker room to know. And that's why I said what I said. Now the locker room, if you didn't believe it from the guys before, you can believe it from us, because that's the truth. So,
yep, absolutely. Now, with kind of you guys, and let's say, you put out that video, not really what you said, but how you're saying it and how you guys are kind of conversing. Do you think that's what has kind of gotten you guys so over with everybody, how relatable you guys are? And like, it's just like you guys are so smooth talking. It's almost like you're sitting with the boys drinking the beer, like, yeah, this guy fucked me, fuck him. And just really kind of being lighthearted, but it's really, you're really kind of being very relatable.
Well, Karl and I, Rocky too, but people were looking at us on a lot of levels with this thing. We're very grounded guys. Anybody who knows us in real life, anybody who knows us in the business, we're fun-loving guys. We love to have a good time. We love pro wrestling, always have, and we don't have any reason to bullshit about any of it, so we don't. And that's why I think people enjoy the podcast, because they enjoy hearing what's going on, what we're doing, what our opinions are. But we also don't mind being the butt of our own joke, because in a lot of these scenarios, you become that, and you can't be afraid to embrace it, and we're not. So I think that we're relatable to the everyday wrestling fan, because, yes, we have gotten the opportunity to be these cool wrestlers and be on this pedestal, but we're just dudes like everybody else at the end of the day, man. And I think that when people see that, you become more relatable to them. And I think that maybe that's a little bit more attractive than, you know, in different eras when there wasn't social media and podcasting and stuff like that. Like, you know, I always believed that before, that you have to maintain the aura that you are a star. Well, I think you still have to do that, but you also have to show people the other side. Like, you know, I'm just a dude in my basement having a beer podcasting and we're talking shit because shit happened, or we're laughing because something was funny, or, you know, whatever the case may be. If you can be transparent, be real, and have a semblance of honesty with your fans, I think that they'll probably keep coming back, especially if you can say it in an entertaining way.
Now, as far as New Japan Pro Wrestling, did you guys always want to go back there? Because, I mean, obviously, so much fame and notoriety with the Bullet Club, but is that a place where you said, like, with Impact, like, we got to go back, we want to go back?
Yeah, that it's always been the goal, even when we signed the WWE deal initially, was to go back at some point. Always what we wanted to do, always a goal. We loved wrestling there. We loved how we were treated professionally there, but we were both just, and you know, Chad helped me embrace it even more because I'd been to Japan for IGF and Noah, but never for the amount of time and to be booked properly and to be part of something like I was with New Japan Pro Wrestling. And we even, they weren't happy when we left, but they understood it, and we still left on good terms. And I think we'll be welcomed back on good terms. But the culture, the people, we have a family in Japan that called the Bullet Club family that literally took care of us like, you know, we were their uncles and their brothers, and took us out every night and took care of us, and just the hospitality and the memories and the good times and the celebrations after a big pay-per-view or just whatever. There's just so much that I'm in love with about that country. And obviously Karl even has a deeper rooted connection to it. So that was always a goal, was to go back for sure.
When you first went into New Japan Pro Wrestling and, you know, you're part of the Bullet Club, you expect it at all to make the gigantic impact that it did? Because not only over there, I mean, over here, it just got over huge.
We knew that it was cool. We knew that there were a lot of really highly talented guys, and we saw it start to happen in Japan. I don't know that we were necessarily prepared for the crossover into America, but I think that once it started happening, we went, hell yeah, this is what was supposed to fucking happen. And I think we all handled it pretty well and tried to maximize it and get as much out of it as we could. So yeah, and I mean, it's reflected, you know, look at AEW, look at professional wrestling landscape kind of changed in America coming out of all that stuff. So I couldn't be more proud of the Young Bucks and Kenny and of us and of AJ and everybody like that, because, you know, AJ Styles, you know, I don't think a lot of people would disagree. If he's not the best, he's one of the best wrestlers who ever lived. And WWE didn't want him when he left TNA. Come on. But then that spotlight gets put on you in New Japan, and the Bullet Club becomes such an entity with such a big momentum and such a merchandise mover. And we were able to become household names, without wrestling on American television. So I think it's kudos to Gato and the booking there, and the talent and the performers who were delivering every night, and still coming across as cool as we all at least think that we really are. So I think that it was just a great recipe, and they capitalized on it, and it really worked. So, but yeah, surprising at first, but we definitely wanted to ride the momentum, and I think that everybody did a pretty good job of it.
And it's crazy when that logo that everyone knows with the skull and the crossbones and everything else with that Bullet Club logo, which is actually really the second logo of the Bullet Club. When that came out and you guys started doing that, did you kind of like, wow, this, like, look at all these shirts? And the merchandise was everywhere. It was insane. Just like that.
We knew the shirt was selling like hotcakes. We were seeing them everywhere in Japan, but then, you know, you're over there doing that schedule. You're not necessarily paying attention to the American scene other than, oh, my buddy's over here in this company, he's doing good for him, or over here, he's doing good for him. But when we started like seeing the social media mentions and stuff, and we would turn on TV just to see how many shirts that you could see, because it became a phenomenon, and you couldn't go anywhere in wrestling without them being everywhere. And then, you know, the independent guys, which is smart, ripping off that design, and there was every club you could come up with or imagine. hell, we each all had our own, Gallows club, whatever club, because
Yep.
it was a mint. It was great. So yeah, definitely. It was very exciting, man.
So when they originally bring you over to New Japan Pro Wrestling, how does that happen? Does Karl Anderson know you and was like, we got to bring Doc back over to Japan? Like, how did you get actually back in New Japan?
It's funny because Karl and I had become buddies, like text buddies. He was working in Japan. I was working in TNA. I was looking to make a move. I had a 1-year contract with a 1-year option, but in the contract, it stated that if the option were to come into play, there had to be a raise. Well, basically they said stay, but there's no more money. There is no raise. And I said, that's not what this says. So we got into a bit of a pissing match. And then they said, well, then we're going to let you go. And I was like, I didn't appreciate them announcing that they had fired me when basically it was a mutual decision, but that doesn't matter now. But at the time, Nick Aldis Magnus was negotiating with TNA, and he was using Scott D'Amore as an agent. He introduced me to Scott, and that's how I really got to know Scott. Scott helped put together the New Japan deal, and Karl showed a clip of me to Tiger Hattori in Japan, who thought I was a good worker. And I think at the time, to Karl's chagrin, because he was in line for a big singles push, and they went, "Oh, this guy, big guy, but you guys look similar. I think tag team." And he's going, "Fuck this guy. I want the singles push," And obviously, I came in, and the Bullet Club happened, and we captured magic in a bottle, or however the phrase goes. So we were happy about it. But initially, he was kind of like, I mean, I wanted the guy to come, but I wasn't looking for this tag team run. But it ended up, we've been together ever since, and kind of attached at the hip, and we've had some decent runs across the world with it. So it everything kind of happens for a reason. But all the way back then in 2013, I knew that Scott was a good guy and he had my back. And now here we are 7 years later, and I'm working for him, and we're working together on a lot of cool shit. So
what do you think about the chemistry with you and him? Was it just immediate somehow, for whatever reason, it just works out with you guys? Because it does seem like you guys are like brothers, or like you've known each other for 100 years or something. But you guys have great chemistry.
I don't know how or why, but I always heard guys who knew him would say to me, Karl Anderson, because you guys would be great buddies if you knew each other. And then I found out from him that guys who knew me would say, do you know Gallows? Because you guys would get along great. Same sense of humor. And we really didn't. I'd met him at like a convention at a thing we filmed in LA, but we didn't get to talk to each other. And we became just kind of texting back and forth about literally just like brother shit. Hey, did you see this? Did you see this? Ha, ha, ha. And then I came to Japan. We worked a tag match in Cork and Hall that was, it was like we've been tagging together for 10 years. We get back to the hotel. He calls me and goes, "Hey, do you like Mexican food?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "You like beer?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "You want to come to my sponsor with me?" I go, "Yeah." So let's go. And it was like that Step Brothers moment. Did we just become best friends? And we've literally been together ever since. So one of my best buddies ever.
That is awesome. That's just interesting because you're both kind of from different worlds, right? I mean, he's kind of a Southern California guy. You're more of a East Coast guy, right?
Well, yeah, but he started in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh, okay.
I started in West Virginia, so we had crossed paths with a lot of guys in the Carolinas and Kentucky and stuff who knew each other. But he went to California initially for the New Japan Dojo, and that's where the connection with him and Rocky Romero comes in. And it's funny, now here we are all these years later, and the three of us are, we have a business together and a podcast, and we're great buddies and all that. So, yeah, but I was an East Coast guy. We didn't know each other at all from independent stuff. I knew of him when he got to Japan and he was tagging with Matt Bloom, Giant Bernard, and they were doing the deal over there. What was it? Bad Attitude, I think.
Yep.
So I followed it, and I would see the magazines and see the social media stuff and read about them, but I didn't know exactly and wasn't 100% familiar. So then when I was coming to go to, getting ready to go to New Japan, I started watching. I went, good God, this guy's phenomenal. He's like the best kept secret in wrestling, which he's not anymore because people are finally going to see, truly how good he is. The Japanese audience knows, but just one hell of a performer. I've been out there with, some of the very best, from Punk to AJ. Karl's right up there, man. He can hang with anybody in the business. Great worker.
So when you guys are kind of traveling to and from Japan and doing all these, road trips and everything like that. Is that what we're seeing on the show? Is that you guys are just literally fun loving? You'd go out, get drinking, like you mentioned last night. You guys would sit there and watch Don Fry Takayama fight or something. Is that just who you guys are? You guys just fun loving, drinking, eating,
Yeah, we
fucking around?
I guess we're kind of a throwback to the past in that sense where, we're not wild. We're both married and settled down, but we love to have a beer. We love to talk shit, and we love to get done our match and, catch a buzz together. And that's why it's called Talkin' Shop. We literally would sit around in Japan and go, "Hey, you want to go get a case of beer and talk some shop?" Well, hell yeah, I do. And that's what we do. That's just us being us. That's how we are in real life. That's how we are when the cameras are off. And, yeah, 100%. That's us just going up and down the road together, having a good time and laughing the whole way.
When you get to New Japan and you guys are working tags and stuff, are you cognizant of them? Not to say like they're better wrestlers or something like that, but are you cognizant like that there's so much talk with like quote unquote smart marks and fans that really kind of pay attention to New Japan that they have a different style, they work a really good style, they have quote unquote some of the best workers. Are you cognizant of that going in, or is that something you kind of just learn while you're working over there?
No, I think that I knew it, and I think that I looked at it as an opportunity to not be a work rate guy, because as a big man, you're never going to be really considered like that.
Mhm.
But to show that you can keep up and you can put on a hell of a match with those guys and then bring something different to the table. Because working with me is obviously going to be different than working with Karl or whatever. So, to show people that you can get over there and you can go and you can move for a big guy and you can do all that stuff. That was something I definitely wanted to do. And I think that I did a pretty good job of it. I know that, big men aren't necessarily always a smart mark wrestling crowd's cup of tea, but I think that I worked for the role that I was given. I think that it went well. So
I feel like the big man it may be starting to come back a little bit, but it's missing in wrestling. I love a good big man. You know what I mean? Like believable, like you, huge, can kick somebody's ass. Is that kind of missing in today's wrestling? Because it seems like it went away for a little bit, unfortunately.
I feel like it is, but I think there's a big opportunity for it to come back. Like the Fulton kid, Madman Fulton at Impact. I know he got released from NXT, didn't have much of an opportunity there. I didn't see any of his stuff there. I knew of him, but we had a couple interactions on these tapings, and I said to him, I go, dude, like, what's missing are two big guys that aren't afraid to really swing and kick each other's asses, and I think you and I can do that, and we're both athletic enough where we can move around while we're doing it, and we can probably really turn some heads. So I'm looking to do that stuff. I think there's definitely room for it, and I think that it's an element that people like to see because it does feel dangerous when you got two 300-pound guys out there laying the lumber and you can hear the skin fucking smashing against each other, and you can tell that they're not playing with kid gloves on. It's what I told him. I go, neither one of us, there's no reason to be afraid to hit me. I'm not going to be afraid to hit you, and I think that that's fun. So
Yeah, like you and Archer, in
yep.
Japan, just kind of killing each other like that.
Yep.
And I mean, that kind of stuff, it's, the work rate. It's not really important. I want to see some believability. I want to see these two big guys, not kill each other, but, you stiff, you a little snug.
Yeah, you want to feel like it's in there, man. I love that. I mean, I was such a fan. I guess when I became smarter, it wasn't like the smart mark stuff when I was a teenager, because hell, it was 20 years ago now. But like when I got into the tape trade and all that,
Mm-hmm.
all I wanted to see was Hanson and Brody and the stuff they did in Japan and Brody in Puerto Rico, because I mean, it was just such what a thing to see. Just extraordinary. It was mesmerizing to me because I was used to WWF TV, and you didn't see a lot of that stuff. These big, scary looking ass kickers. I've always been a huge fan of it.
Oh yeah, and when that Hulkamania 6, I think it was, came out, and you just got to see him against Hanson, and him,
Yes.
wrestling in a completely different style, and Hanson stiffing the shit out of him with a lariat.
Yep.
It's like, oh, this is the Hogan I want to see. Like, oh, look at these two behemoths killing each other.
Yeah, and it showed him kind of stepping out of what you normally saw him do, so it made it so cool. I love that stuff, man. I'm a big fan of it.
So when you guys are wrestling like Wrestle Kingdom and going to the Tokyo Dome, does that mean something to you? Is that like important to you guys? Is that because as a fan, it's like, oh my God, Tokyo Dome, how special. Wrestle Kingdom, how cool. Does that mean stuff to you, being that you were kind of an old school fan?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, the Tokyo Dome was a big deal to me the first time. It's always got a special feel to it. It's very cool. Some cool moments. in there, and some shit, that I'll never forget. Like, Carl and I were just saying on another interview, like, we're not big marks for winning the title or whatever, but there are places you go to for the first time and you really love them. And, just like Sumo Hall in Japan, some big, great matches over there, and big reactions from that crowd, and learning how to really pop that crowd. It's very cool. Absolutely.
So does winning the IWGP tag titles, does that mean anything per se to you, or is it just like an honor that they think so much of you that they're going to put some gold and some weight
I
behind
think it's an honor, and it means that they trust you as a performer, as a talent, to wear the hat and to carry the belt. Yeah, that's cool. Definitely. I say we're not a mark for the title, but I got a IWGP title up here on the mantle that you can't see because this is
it?
audio. So it is cool. And, you don't forget that stuff. And it's stuff that you think about it more when you're young and getting into the business than when you're, 10 years plus, 15 years plus. You don't go, oh my God, as much anymore, but it definitely means something for sure.
Yeah, I love kind of just looking back and it's like, oh, they faced this team or they won this team or they won that gold, because it's just something to kind of add to the resume, of Doc Gallows. Like, oh, IWGP, WWE Tag Team Champion. You know what I mean? It adds to your resume for sure.
Definitely. Can't deny that.
When you left New Japan and you headed to a WWE in 2016 and made your debut, is that a hard decision for you, or is that just like, okay, this is great, going back to WWE where I want to be? Like, how did that kind of play out in your head?
It was a hard decision. We were talking about leaving Japan because the schedule had gotten so intense. Chad and I, 35 weeks a year the last year, missing our kids missing us, real life shit. And then we had the TNA offer that we were flirting with, and then WWE came on board, and we're in Japan together. AJ, us. I remember our parents were there, my mom and dad, and Carl's mom and dad, or mom. And we're sitting in a room, and we took a vote, and I was the only one who voted no. I said, I remember how that was when I was a kid. I remember how that locker room was. I don't want to go. But I got voted down, and initially I was wrong. We made some great money. We had a little run there. The locker room was 100 times better. It was a lot of fun. A lot of guys that I'm good friends with now and very supportive of, and I want to see them continuing to do well. But yeah, I was not in favor of it out of the gate. I thought we had a good thing going in Japan. It was just we were working a little too much.
Did you feel like with you guys, though, it was like a little bit of start and stop? Like they're going to do something with you. Obviously, AJ and you guys, part of the Bullet Club. If you have you three, no brainer, make a ton of money with that, like New Japan did. Is that one of those things where it's kind of like, oh, start and stop? Like big push, no big push. Tease something with Finn Balor, tease something with AJ, and then they kind of get shot down. Is that annoying after a while?
Hell yeah, that was the entire run.
Yeah, exactly.
It was obvious to us that there were never any solid plans, and it's very frustrating. And that we had a lot of regrets. That's why it was so hard to sign back when they piled all that money onto the guarantee, and we did sign back. And then a few weeks later, we see the booking, and we went, we did it again. What the hell? So yeah, that was a difficult time because we were pissed off a lot. So.
Yep. Is there some positives though, like the OC with AJ? Any sort of positivity out of that run at all?
Oh yeah, I'm not shitting on the whole thing. There were definitely some positives. We had some good times. We had some real highlights. Just no continuity, and whoever's fault that was, I don't know. But there was never any continuity to it. So it was basically, you're right. It was a lot of start and stop. There were some good moments, and then there were some like real lulls where like we got moved to SmackDown, and they don't even have like 5 minutes for us on the show, and we're just sitting there. It was like, why are we here? Why are you keeping us here? Why do we have to come to TV each week? Like it was strange. So yeah.
Was that one of those things where like, okay, we just don't want these guys because they can make money elsewhere? We just don't want them making money elsewhere. Do you think that ever comes into play?
I do. I felt like that was probably a part of bringing us in. Right or wrong, I don't know the true motivation, and I don't want to harp on it because I'm not a negative guy, and I feel like that's all mirror shit.
Yep.
So we're past it now, and the future looks bright. So I'll say that.
Yeah, for sure. I just love that. Like, it's just thinking of them like regretting it. Like, shit. Now they're trending number one, number one podcast in sports, number one podcast in wrestling. They got a beer. They got dominating Patreon. They got friggin' pay per views. You know what I mean? It's just like funny when you think about it. It's like, okay, yeah. Oh, you want to do that? Here we are. This is the potential that you guys missed out on.
You got to come out of the gate swinging. I was talking to my dad on the phone about that earlier. He's got a lot going on. I said, we don't have a choice. I'm not going to sit back and sulk. Certainly not, because I'm not sad about it, but I'm also not going to let opportunities pass me by. So let's go out and make and take everyone we possibly can. That's part of being a man, part of standing up for your family, part of standing up for your brand. If you're not doing that, then I don't know, go to the back of the room or something.
Yeah, absolutely. I did want to mention TNA for just a brief minute, just because I love Aces and Eights. I know so many people have different opinions on it, but I
Right.
don't know, like the way it was structured. Maybe Bubba Ray, maybe he shouldn't have been the leader of the group. Maybe he should have been like the set up to the leader of the group, or whatever people want to say about it. I know that was kind of frowned upon. Like that was the leader, should have been whoever. But
Yeah.
the actual structure and the way it was done, and the turns, the way they were done, and the booking and the unmasking, I actually was like interested in TNA for a point in time because of the Aces and Eights, and obviously, you were Doc on it. Did you kind of feel that way, or are you in agreement with a lot of the fans that did not like the Aces and Eights?
I thought that a lot of it was done well. I thought that it had a lot of potential to go further than it went, but at the time, there were different people in different positions that maybe didn't feel that way. But I know that TNA all the way around had a pretty damn good product at that time. When you think about it, you had AJ, you had Christopher Daniels, you had Kazarian. Whether you like it or not, I'm a Hogan fan. You had the Hulkster there, and then we were doing this Aces and Eights angle, and at the time, the Sons of Anarchy show was so popular and all the biker gang stuff. So I thought it was cool. I just thought that we could have kept going and done a lot more, and the ball got dropped somewhere there management wise, and it kind of just fizzled out. But I thought it could be cool. I know there were plans if I would have stayed to turn me babyface out of it, and I think I was going to work with Ken and then work with Bubba. But they were talking about giving me a little shove with it and stuff like that. So it could have been cool if the office would have handled it different. But in hindsight, saying that, if that would have happened, I never would have joined the Bullet Club, and we probably wouldn't be having this conversation. It'd be a much different look. So
yeah,
everything happens for a reason, I guess.
I just think it's funny. Like I've talked to Ken Anderson and Mike Knox and D'Lo and a bunch of and Wes Briscoe and Garrett Bishop. So everyone liked it. That was a part of the group. They said the same thing you did. Should have done more with it. Ended too soon. Didn't end the right way. So it's like a consensus amongst the boys that Aces and Eights was good and well done. It just wasn't finished correctly, and they could have done more with it.
Yeah, it was like there was a beginning and kind of a middle, but no end. So you just left the fans, for lack of a better term, with their dicks in their hands, I guess. But yeah, no, I was the same way. I thought it was cool, and it had some buzz to it, and Impact was great about these teasers with us coming in, but they did a couple of teasers on the shows where they showed like D'Lo with the Aces and Eights vest and different stuff like that.
Yep.
And my social media had a lot of traction over that, a lot of mentions and a lot of questions and a lot of stuff. So I mean, it definitely left its mark on people, bad or good.
Yep, for sure. And I just think Aces and Eights kind of underrated. Also, kind of underrated. Just looking back, Festus. I always was a big fan of Festus. I was like, man, like it kind of shows your range. Like you did that Imposter Kane thing. Okay, that's whatever. But then you come with Festus, and it's like, man, this is a big ass kicker, almost like a Terry Gordy type, or somebody of that vein of like a big ass kicker. But he's got some range here. He could play it. This kind of fun WWE sports entertainment type character.
Well, I appreciate the Terry Gordy reference. I don't know that I'll ever be that good, but I appreciate it. And my tag team partner Jesse was the son of Terry Gordy during that run.
Yep.
I always say it was a good way to get on TV. I was 23 years old when I debuted as Festus, and basically they told me to grow out my cul-de-sac and kind of be as fat as I wanted, and this was the character I was going to play. So when you grow up thinking you're going to be this long-haired wrestler in a cool robe or something, and you become Festus, you're going, well. But I always have said make the best out of any situation. And the fact was, it was a great way to get my feet wet on TV because I could kind of hide behind the character. I had fun playing the character. And for the mid-card act that it was a lot of fun. It was always over. Every live event that we did in the country, Festus got a pop because he had enough TV time where people knew what it was, and it's a simple concept. The bell rings, he goes crazy, he kicks the shit out of the bad guy, the bell rings, he's back in his stupor. Very simple, very easy to digest, whether you're 6 years old or, you know, an old lady or whatever. So Hawkins and I were talking about it the other night. We were having a drink after the Impact tapings, and one of the boys asked that, and not that they were shitting on it, but they were like, well, what was it like working with him doing that? And he said it was fun and it was easy because it got a reaction and it was over in every part of the country we went to. I mean, I'm not saying it was over enough to sustain a big singles push or anything, but as a character and a fun, maybe half-assed comedy act, it definitely worked. So I'm not embarrassed by that at all. Bought my first house with it, so it was all good.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it, but very cool. And yeah, and obviously Jesse, really the son of Terry Gordy, but you physically look like, you know, and act like him and wrestle like him a bit. Jesse, I don't know. I guess Jesse's more of his mom's gene or something like that. But
well, you know, Ray's mom was about 4'10", so I think he just didn't get Terry's height. But Ray was a hell of a little worker too. He just never got the credit for being as good as he was. And you know, they would that was in that era where they would just tell you this insane shit. Like, he had come from working in Pro Wrestling Noah and doing all these cool suplexes and this intense style, and they were like, you know, watch tapes of Marty Jannetty and the New Rockers. That's how we want you to be. And he's going, what are you doing? And now he's trying to like monkey flip and do cartwheels, and it's like, can't he just be him? But you know, it's not the way it works there sometimes. So
speaking of Pro Wrestling Noah, I always thought Takeshi Morishima was Terry Gordy's like bastard child. That literally is the spitting image of him, but Japanese.
I mean, it's Japanese Terry Gordy. I always thought the same thing. It's a shame his career didn't last a little longer.
Yeah.
I wrestled him in Noah. It was fun.
Literally same height, same weight. Like, it's insane. Mm-hmm. Like, literally, it's just
same hair.
Same hair. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So as we hit the wind down, we head towards the finish. I know you got so much going on. It's literally kind of just insane. Like, I know you're like, I got to squeeze you in here. I got, you know, like I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So
you were number 7 of 9 today, my brother.
Yeah. Damn it. You know, this is just so much stuff, but just please give us a big, you know, Talkin Shop a Mania, you know, on pay-per-view. Just give us like a little, just one little push, and just mention the Patreon, the beer, the podcast, everything you got going, because you got so much going on.
Well, I will say this. Thanks to all of you who are listening. The Talkin Shop brand is alive and well. The worst podcast ever, Talkin Shop. Wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, like, subscribe. Look for Talkin Shop beer coming your way. You can find our merch on ProWrestlingTees.com, collarandelbowbrand.com, breakneckgear.com. It's all over the place. But most importantly, August the 1st, drop the $15, have a couple drinks, get ready to have a laugh, because Talkin Shop a Mania comes on at 9 p.m. American and Canadian pay-per-view providers, iPay-per-view via the FITE app, FITE TV will be broadcasting this thing. It is going to be a hell of a spectacle. A show? Maybe. Match quality? I don't think so. But the worst pay-per-view ever will deliver, as the Boner Yard match will be epic. It will be remembered. There will be more insider shit spoofed than you could ever imagine. There will be cameos that you don't even know why we thought of them, but I think they're hilarious. So please join us August the 1st, Talkin Shop a Mania. You're going to see greats from all areas of professional wrestling, all different eras, from the current era to the forefathers who brought us to the dance. They're all winking. They're all having a good time. It's not disrespectful. It is a parody about what we all know and love, and that is the great sport of kings, professional wrestling. Join us August 1st for Talkin Shop a Mania. I will.
So just one final question for you. You got so much going on. Like I said, the Patreon, the beer. Where do you see yourself in a couple years? Like, Impact on top of the world, New Japan on top of the world. Where do you see your brand? I mean, the Good Brothers are huge and over. Where do you see yourself going from here?
I just want the Good Brother brand to keep growing. We got a lot of stuff in the works. There's a lot of projects we're working on that we can't really say anything about because we're tightening the screws and signing the paperwork. Proud to be part of the Impact brand. Proud to have the opportunity to hopefully go back to New Japan Pro Wrestling soon. I cannot wait until the world is open and we can all enjoy professional wrestling together again. And what I mean is you, the fans, watching us, the wrestlers. I know I'm not supposed to call us pro wrestlers, but I'm allowed to now, in an arena, in a gym, in a venue, either telling us how much you love us or telling us how much you hate us. But we, as the wrestling community, deserve to be together. And I cannot wait to be doing that. So a few years down the road, I hope we're having a packed out house. I hope that Good Brother music hits. I hope you yay. I hope you boo. And I hope we have one hell of a good time, because we're not slowing down. It's only going to go up from here.
Awesome stuff, Doc. It's finally great to get you on after all these years. Finally able to get you on. WWE maybe
We did it.
but we did it. Yes, screw them. We did it. Yes. So awesome stuff. And I will definitely be watching Talking Shop Mania on pay-per-view and listen to the podcast. Thank you so much, Doc.
I'm Doc Gallows, and you're listening to the Two-Man Power Trip.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You got it, brother. Use that wherever you want. Thanks, man.
Yep. Thank you. Have a great night.
All
Good luck with Penzer. Yep.
Yeah. Jesus. Yeah, I'll try.
All right. Yep. Bye.
Have a good one, brother.
Yep. You too.